Alright, welcome to another video. This video is going to be a bit of a serious one, because it has to do with allegations made against Cowl Unit Productions, a Canadian-based YouTuber and railfanner. It's kind of, well, it's not even, it's common knowledge at this point that, Cowl Unit is under some allegations from from, well, multiple communities, actually. But to get to the bottom of these allegations, I have his video up. And I wanted to. I'm gonna give my 2 cents with his 2 cents on the whole allegations thing. Since, again, this is pretty serious. I don't see anybody else addressing this yet. So someone has to do it. Therefore, I'm going to do it. So here it is. Cowl Unit Productions is my video, which is aptly titled My Response to the Accusations. I've got about 10 minutes of video here to watch, so let's address some allegations, shall we?
If my mic quality sounds a bit different, that's because I'm currently recording this on my phone since my microphone isn't working right now, but that's besides the point. So, this video is more or less just going to be addressing a couple things that were brought to my attention recently, and I feel like it's appropriate to really address my side of things and to clear a bit of things up because, quite frankly, ever since I heard about this, it's kind of started to slowly spread thanks to a couple of questionable individuals.
Trust me, buddy. I've got questionable individuals on my end, too. You're not the only one. Oddly enough, I did actually watch this video beforehand. I just didn't record it. I'm recording it now so I can basically fully give, like, my 2 cents while he's also giving his 2 cents about his experience and how it oddly enough somewhat relates to me, funny enough, which right off the bat, allegations are being spread because of a couple of questionable individuals. Gee, that sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? If you will recall to last year, there were allegations made and spread thanks to train dev last year, saying that Sneaky Steve and his developers over at Searchlight Studios, the group that owns Sandpatch, quote unquote stole a bunch of train devs assets and stuff that he made for Sandpatch. When in fact, that wasn't the case. Train Dev, in fact, was the one taking those assets and stealing them. And there's another ex Sandpatch dev by the name of Fanto, like I said, like I've addressed last year, that also took assets from Rocky Mountain Division, stole them, and put them in his game Rail Arson, which Rail Arson is just poor quality. I'm just putting it at that. Watch my Rail Arson videos about it, because oh boy, it's sure there's only 2 videos, but so again, that's earlier context to be seen before getting the full context of, oh, Rail Arson is stealing stuff from Sandpatch, and Train Dev was also kind of doing that from like June of 2025. Like, it was so bad, even Gaming Railfanner was in on it. Good God. Anyway, back to Cowl Unit's video.
But for context, last night a Facebook group called the Idiots of Rail Fanning. One person in there by the name of Izzy, or I think what was it YMX3829 or whatever.
Okay, first off, the captioning probably didn't get what he was saying, but I could hear it, so I'm gonna back up the video a bit and turn up the video a bit so I can see if I can catch it a bit better.
And there by the name of Izzy, or I think was it YMX3829 or whatever.
Okay, so the captions say YMX4829. I can already say that that doesn't sound right. Well, that captioning with the audio doesn't match up because, well, first off, the captioning for auto-generated is generated with speech-to-text AI, which isn't exactly a good thing. Anyway, what I'm thinking he said was something along the lines of WOMX 3829. At least that's what I'm thinking he said. Which, if I look up WOMX 3829, it happens to be a GP38. Which makes sense considering the railroad. It makes sense considering that WOMX in and of itself is a short line railroad system or company. It's WOMX, well, Watco Rail Services, it has the reporting mark of WAMX or WOMX. Sorry, well, reporting mark or AAR mark. Anywho, that doesn't have anything to do with the video. I'm just pointing out that it's a Watco locomotive. If I look up GP38, and he said it was 3829. 3829 would be somewhere around here. 3828 to 3830. 3829 sits smack dab in the middle. That locomotive is uh see note 38. Okay, hold on. Note 38. 38 39. So it was like 3829. 3829 Bangor and was X Bangor and Aroostook 352. I know I got it a bit into detail of something that I probably shouldn't have, but I digress. I got a bit off track and I apologize. Anywho, of course the AI captioning gets the not only the name but the number wrong. But anyway, back to this Izzy person on the Facebook. Yes, this started from a group called Idiots of Rail Fanning on a Facebook. It's a Facebook group. Oh no.
Started making a post on there, and he threw around the claim saying that I quote unquote watched lolicon content in a Discord VC.
Which I don't know Cowl Unit personally, but I have been in situations where people are again being alleged of watching inappropriate content or some shit in a server. Like for example, um again, Train Dev from last year saying that oh, Sneaky Steve's a weirdo. He has this picture of someone with thigh highs. Yeah, that was Sneaky's ex. Your point being, I don't trust Train Dev anymore. And rightfully so, because again, like I said last year, the whole thing of me having a vendetta against Sandpatch no longer exists. That was settled in August of last year. And I am disgusted and mortified at myself that I even decided to have that big of a head to, you know, allow myself to go after Sneaky the way that I did. And I just it feels weird knowing that the situation that Cowl Unit's going through is kind of the same situation that I went through, but then again, this video isn't about me, this is about Cowl Unit and the allegations that are being made against him. Continuing.
And the only screenshot that they really showed was more or less just a claim from this group or whatever. I think one of the individuals named in there was like Georgia Trains or whatever. Pretty much making the claim saying that a friend, an unnamed one at that, quote unquote spotted me in a Discord call watching quote unquote lolly content. And apparently he said when he quote unquote was confronted, then I left the call. And that's about it.
Alright. Not only does that whole story not make sense on Georgia's part, but this sounds like something that someone in the Rolling Line community would fucking make up. And oh boy, we're gonna get to that later. We're gonna get to Rolling Line later.
There's no other sources of information. Apparently, someone is claiming out there saying that there's a quote unquote testimonies, which no one that I know of has heard anything about that matter, at least at the time of recording right now. But long story short, some people in a Facebook group by a bunch of angry foamers started making these claims saying that I quote unquote watch lolly content.
Which again, I don't know. I don't know Cowl Unit personally, and I have reached out to him wanting to collaborate with him on stuff in the past. I don't know. If I knew him personally, he probably would tell me that he isn't watching that kind of stuff because first off, ew, lolly content lolly content is basically just child porn and I do not like that whatsoever. What the fuck? That's why? Why does it exist? Why do people why I'm gonna go off on a rant here for a bit about lolly content, lolicon. Why does it exist? Why do people like this to the point where they make it? It's disgusting. That it's essentially the same thing as like, I don't know, fucking cub content. Like cub content is literally just child porn, but furries. That's disgusting. Any kind of fucking child porn, whether it be fucking cub content, actual child porn, or fucking loli content. I despise of it. I hate it. It's disgusting. Why do people like it? It concerns me to the point where I just want to take everybody that watches that stuff and likes it and just throw them all in jail. Like throw them all in prison for life. They don't deserve to be in a society where if these people think that being in today's day and like this day and age's society, if they think that what they're doing is okay in today's day and age, in today's society, they deserve to be in prison. I'm going to be straight with you. They belong in prison, and I don't see any reason that they should be let out ever. Which, that only validates my point of like that only validates like the point of like other people that have like been locked up in prison for doing abhorrent stuff with children then getting killed by someone in jail, and for the strangest of for like reasons that are pretty like crazy. Okay, so the person that killed Jeffrey Dahmer, the guy that killed Jeffrey Dahmer, Christopher Scarver. Sure, he's a convicted murderer who is known, of course, for murdering both Jeffrey Dahmer and Jesse Anderson, who were also both convicted murderers at the Columbia Correctional Institution in Wisconsin. Okay then. So what happened with Dahmer and Anderson is Scarver had a metal bar. He had a concealed metal bar on him, and when they were on a work detail together in the prison gymnasium, he beat he and fatally injured both Dahmer and Anderson, and was then convicted to 2 further life sentences for the murders. He was already sentenced to life in prison after being convicted of the murder to Steve Loman in 1990. But the thing is that Scarver figured out, like, Scarver knew of what both Jesse Anderson and Jeffrey Dahmer did, said, fuck that. I don't want to live in a prison where these two psychopaths exist, and killed them both. For reference, Jeffrey Dahmer was a cannibal that lived in Milwaukee and regularly did cannibalistic things, like on the daily. That's already disgusting as it is. Like, I don't support cannibalism whatsoever. It's horrible. Why would you eat another person? That's gross. And of course, Jesse Anderson was the guy that killed his wife, Barbara Anderson, and then wounded himself, and then pinned the blame on 2 black people, specifically black men, but still. So one's a cannibal and the other's a racist that also murdered his wife. Yeah, I see why Scarver killed both of those fuckers, because if if both Dahmer and Anderson were still alive, I don't know, you would have killed them too, right? Like, those two were the most mentally unwell people in the were 2 of the most mentally unwell people in the American Midwest. Like, Jeffrey Dahmer, Milwaukee based. Anderson, based out of Alton, Illinois. Well, he was born in Illinois. He died at the UW Health University Hospital in Madison. And his cause of death was homicide due to severe head trauma. And yeah, the details of Anderson. His victim was Barbara Anderson, who was 33 at the time when she died. He did the crime on April 21st of 1992. He was in Milwaukee at the time. Oh no. He had a knife, and he was apprehended April 29th, when, again, this guy tried to pin the blame on 2 black men. White supremacist? Possibly. Who knows? This guy, but then again, Like I said, Scarver did kill both Dahmer and Anderson because he saw the shit that they did and went, no way, I am not going to do, I am not going to do my sentence in the same prison as as a molesting cannibal and a racist murderer. Like, he drew the line right there. As soon as Anderson and Dahmer stepped over it, they were in for he went in for the kill. Which I can understand why he went and did it. Those two were horrible people. Anyway, back to Cowl Unit's video.
Now, if I were to give my 2 cents on this and just my side of this, I have not recounted any of what those people have said, let alone interacted with any of the aforementioned individuals.
Which, to be fair, this again, these allegations started from a Facebook group, one that's literally called the Idiots of Rail Fanning. Last I checked, there's a bunch of flat earthers on Facebook. So yeah, I don't think you're gonna want to get all your quote unquote news off of Facebook.
I've checked my DMs, nothing, no confrontation or anything, let alone nothing has really been brought to my attention aside from the screenshots. I was more or less brought aware of the situation by a couple of Railfan friends of mine, which, if they're watching this, thank you for bringing it up. And a couple of people have been well aware of the Idiots of Railfanning Facebook group, considering that they've been also targeting another fellow content creator, the Winnipeg Railfan.
Oh, great. So not only has the Idiots of Rail Fanning been targeting Cowl Unit for some time now, they've been also targeting the Winnipeg Railfan. Now, as I don't even know how to describe how his older videos before his most recent video on the 710 Eco are I would say brain rotted, but also not. It's besides the point. Anyway, um, like I said, I don't know Winnipeg or Cowl Unit personally. I don't. I I haven't met them. They haven't met me. I don't know what's going on in their heads. For all I know, this could be true and they could be lying, but I have no idea. I was told recently, in fact, that I was told recently in a Discord server that everything that's being said about Cowl Unit is false. And I just want to get to the bottom of that whole allegations thing. And, of course, hearing it from somebody on Discord isn't exactly trustworthy. I need to hear it from the guy himself. And maybe someone else, if they have their own side of this whole story.
Pretty much saying that he's like a fat PDF creep while showcasing like AI images of Fat Sonic, which really tells you how much of these are actually trustworthy.
So, essentially, what it's called. Oh my god. The Idiots of Rail Fanning, the Idiots of Rail Fanning, Facebook group is essentially calling Cowl Unit. They are basically saying that Cowl Unit watches LoliCon, and Winnipeg Railfan is a PDF. My only question to that is, where's the actual proof? Because so far, the only proof we have of Cowl Unit, quote unquote, watching that lolicon stuff happens to be a screenshot from that group specifically, the Idiots of Railfan group on Facebook. Again, that's not evidence. That's just a claim that you made in the group and then decided to screenshot. Like, what? And then, of course, for Winnipeg Railfan, all their evidence is just, oh, I don't know, AI generated images of Sonic, but he's gained a few pounds. Seriously? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Huh? I'm confused. Anyway, Kalyana, go ahead.
But out of all the claims, I have never recounted anywhere of me doing the aforementioned stuff that those individuals have claimed. And these testimonies I've never really heard from because no one has really taught me anything or told me anything or like likewise.
So essentially, no one's been telling Kalyana about any of this stuff. He's learning about this stuff for himself now. He's learning about this stuff now. If Cowl Unit knew what was being said about him beforehand, this video would have been made months ago. Hell, last year. Hell, before that even. But no, he's learning about this stuff right now. It's concerning. Because again, he doesn't he's only been told this stuff recently. In fact, this video, if I look at the times, if I look at when the video came out, 4 hours ago at, well, 4 hours ago, my time would have been 9 in the morning for me. It was 9 in the morning when he found this stuff out. Well, it was 9 in the morning, and then, yeah, it quite literally was last night when Cowl Unit found out that all this stuff is going around, and of course he's like, and then, he has to address this because people are basically spreading lies and misinformation about him on the internet. And I don't know, last I checked, that's not exactly a thing you're going to want to do. You shouldn't spreading misinformation on the internet already is bad. Trump. But the fact that people are willing to go this far to keep everything a secret from the person that they're making allegations of, from that person that they're making allegations to, it's a bit suspicious, don't you think? Because they're making these allegations of Cowl Unit watching watching basically just Canadian Pacific, quote unquote, in a Discord call, and then when he was confronted about it, he quote unquote left. I don't know about you, but that kind of sounds a bit like projection. Because, first off, why would you be saying this about Cowl Unit if A, you don't know him, and B, you haven't met him? So, what I'm thinking is, they're just saying this to say this. They're saying it to get attention. They're going to get the attention, but not the attention they want. Anywho.
There was also a claim about me having a teeth brushing fetish, which I have zero clue where they pull that shit from, but I remember hearing this all the way back in 2024 by a couple of troubled individuals.
Oh yeah, the teeth brushing thing. Ironically, well, actually, unironically enough, if I can recall back to a good while ago, um, this was last year. Last year on the Rolling Line Steam community, on the Steam workshop for Rolling Line, there was a mod released for the Milwaukee Roads EP3 Quill Pack. Now, originally, the mod had some what's it called? There was a bit of text on I believe it was the description of it where it said it was available to be liveried, and so uh yeah, initially back at yeah, this was August 5th of last year when the mod was first made on August 5th. There was text on the locomotive. There was text on the not on the locomotive in the description for it on the workshop page that said that the locomotive can be could be used to be make a new livery for it and to essentially make liveries of it and upload with permission from the creator, of course. I won't mention them by name. However, in that description, there was also a little footnote saying that Cowl Unit Productions slash or Cowl Unit's real name of Halton could not and it was not allowed to make liveries of the locomotive because of something to do with toothbrushes and a girl. Which, first off, that irked me because not only was not only was that at the same time that I just got off my high horse about what is it called? Sandpatch not only was that at the point of when I got off my high horse about Sandpatch stealing assets from Train Dev, when in actuality, Train Dev is the weirdo, and he's the one stealing assets and giving them and using them for his own game, and other ex-devs are stealing assets from Searchlight Games, well, from Sandpatch and other Sneaky Steve games, and then putting those into their own games without his permission. And I read that up and I immediately was like, wait, why can't Cowl Unit make a livery of this? He didn't do that. Because at that time I was watching Cowl Unit production videos and I was pretty used to him Cowl Unit being a pretty chill guy, and I of course was not aware of those allegations because I only saw it on the Steam Workshop in one locomotive on one train mod on a single game that costs $20 more than it should. And so I went to the Discord server and asked about it because at the time I was still in the Discord server actually. I asked about it and immediately got shut down by basically the biggest names in Rolling Line mod creation, which unfortunately happened to be people such as Long, Detroit, Cruisin' 420, Tac Doom. It wasn't. It was possibly one of them. It wasn't that. It wasn't all of them at once. It was one of them. I don't remember because that was a long while ago. But essentially, uh, I don't know. Someone in the Rolling Line Discord, I don't remember who, but I remember someone doing it. It was one of the toxic minority because of course it was, shutting me down shutting me down over having, like, genuine curiosity about something that possibly isn't true. Because, again, at that moment, I didn't know, like, what was going on. It just came out of the blue. When I saw that the EP3 was uploaded, I was like, heck yeah, box cab. Oh, there's an allegation for Cowl Unit Productions? I'm gonna ask about it. And then, of course, not only did that comment get deleted, but on the Discord for Rolling Line, I asked about it, got shut down, and, didn't talk for a good day, I think. But, yeah. Anyway.
And it starts spreading around 2025 in the Rolling Line community by a couple of problematic individuals, so to speak.
Oh boy, I sure can list some of those problematic people. I wonder if I could list a whole batch of those problematic people. I'm gonna open this up on the side. Let's see here. Problematic people. Well, I can think of quite a few problematic people, actually. Uh, Frank's or Jack being the main one. That's the developer of the Rolling Line itself. Which, again, this game has been out since 2018. And it's got so much controversy for a game that's only been out for 8 years. A few other problematic people that I can think of are Garsmarst, Camel Guy, Detroit, Long, Tac Doom, Nuclear Milk, Cruisin' 420, and the list just, it goes on. But, one of those people, I don't want to, those people are so problematic that I don't even want to call them people anymore. That's how bad that whole thing is. I'm gonna make a whole video separate to this video about that whole thing later. Oh, heck, I might make that today if I've still. Yeah, I might just make that video today. Just push out a couple of videos today and then probably go dormant again for like the next time I post.
And I never really understood where they were coming from, since they were throwing around the claim that I apparently like watching people brush their teeth, which, no, I've never really stated anything on that matter. And a couple people that did ask about this, I know one of the Rolling Line moderators did ask for proof on that, and they got nothing in return.
Well, isn't that strange? One of the Rolling Line moderators asked for proof on something that wasn't true and got nothing. Gee, doesn't that sound familiar? Rolling Line, Doesn't that sound a little familiar to you guys, Making baseless claims and then saying, oh, well, it's right there. No. This is Rolling Line's community. This is the There's a reason. I knew there was a reason I was going to have to bring up the Rolling Line community, and it's this shit. It's because the Rolling Line community is toxic as all hell. And I could make an hour-long video if I wanted on that whole shit.
But the whole stuff, like the toothbrush shit and the lolicon allegations, I don't ever recall even saying any of that, let alone any of the aforementioned individuals ever touching up on that matter. I did get word from an outsider saying that this was apparently a rumor back in like early 2025 during the whole Union Station drama. When
Oh boy, it's the Railfan YouTuber Discord server that imploded because one of the people because a lot of problematic people joined, and a lot of problematic people started making allegations against the biggest names in Railfan YouTube. And those allegations toward those people were made towards, and I wish I was joking, Cowl Unit Productions, Winnipeg Railfanning, Gamer Railfanner, 5008 Creations, which for some stupid reason goes by Whitestone Rails for some reason nowadays. I would think it also, like, I don't even remember what the video for the Union Station Discord had for like the people that were going to be in it. I don't remember entirely, but it was Cowl Unit, Winnipeg, Gaming Railfanner, and a few others. And yeah, why are people like this? Why can't humanity be decent?
And during the last hours of the Discord server's existence, um, someone apparently was streaming some quote unquote lolly shit, and someone thought about putting the whole rumor that it was probably one of the big content creators.
When in fact it was one of the problematic minority from probably the Rolling Line community, now that I think about it, deciding to do this shit because of how disgusting the Rolling Line Discord and the Rolling Line community as well, not as a whole, but in general, how horrible it is.
And my side on that, if that is the case, I was barely even involved with Union Station to begin with, despite my moderator status.
So essentially, Calumet was a moderator for Union Station. I was in that server. I wasn't active in that server. I am not aware. I am learning this stuff right now. Well, I learned of this earlier when I watched this video earlier, and I'm learning it again right now of like, I wasn't, like, I wasn't aware, I am not aware of the shit that went down in Union Station. All I know now is that all that shit of someone streaming Lolicon in a VC in Union Station, the Discord server, and then decided to pin the blame on Cowl Unit. Why?
I vividly remember the final hours. I was not even doing anything in that server besides watching the chaos unfold and just letting the server die before jumping ship.
Which, that's a fair point. If you're just going to watch it burn itself to the ground, you may as well watch from a distance.
I don't recall being in the VC with anyone in Union Station's final hours, and let alone even recount seeing anyone stream any disturbing shit.
So this whole rumor is just that, a rumor.
That's more or less just my 2 cents on this. I'm not doing this to deflect from, any responsibility or accountability or whatever.
Unlike the Rolling Line community, where that's all they do is deflect.
I'm just dumping my honest 2 cents on this. I'm just being transparent about this, no sugarcoating it. And I just more or less just wanted to get it out there because, quite frankly, the way that some people are just jumping to conclusions without, actually using common sense and thinking that something feels fishy about that, especially coming from a Facebook group that posts, AI fat Sonic pictures just to prove a point that someone is a pedophile.
Oh my god. I can't. I can't. That's probably going to get me every time I watch this that's probably going to get me the next time that it's addressed. Like, you mean to tell me that a whole entire Facebook group dedicated to rail fanning being idiots, well, people in the rail fanning community being idiots, is using AI generated slop to prove that a Canadian from Winnipeg apparently is a pedophile? The math does not math. Okay? It just doesn't make sense. That's like trying to say that Ford makes the best pickup trucks, and then they just show like a fucking Ford tractor. Like, they haven't made like semis and tractors in decades. They still make the F-150. They still make the F-Series pickup trucks. They make the Ranger pickup trucks. Yet, they're still saying that that shit correlates somehow. Because again, they're using AI generated slop to try to prove their point about the Winnipeg Railfanner being something he's not. And again, they're using AI slop to prove that point. That's suspicious as all hell.
which is kind of childish, I will admit that.
It's also childish, like he said, because again, there's no other way to explain this. They're using AI generated imagery of Sonic, but he gained a few pounds to prove that a YouTuber is a pedophile. How do either of those correlate with each other at all? If anything, that just shows how bad the Idiots of Railfanning Facebook group is, because again, they're using AI slop to try and to prove that the Winnipeg Railfanner, the Winnipeg Railfan is apparently a pedophile. What?
But yeah, I have been able to find some of the people that were responsible for these claims, because it's not only targeting me, but apparently some people have been targeting, well, the Winnipeg Rail fan as a result of that too. And it's kind of sad at the same time, knowing that some people in the rail fan community will just make up anything imaginable just because they don't like their content.
Now, isn't that a bit odd? Doesn't that sound a bit? Doesn't that sound a little familiar? We like I said, we had this kind of thing happen last year with Train Dev making accusations about Sandpatch, when in reality, those allegations can be used on Train Dev because he himself was engaging in the things he was alleging Sneaky and his developers of. And all because Train Dev is a disgruntled ex-Sandpatch dev. This also sort of ties in with the more recent stuff of Ren accusing Zeal of sexually abusing her, when in reality, all that happened was Ren is just jealous that Zeal didn't want to be in a relationship with her, and so she got all hissy fit, like, got all hissy fit about the whole not want, like, she got Ren got upset with Zeal not wanting to commit to a relationship with Ren, and so Ren then had a whole meltdown of a Google Doc written out about how apparently Zeal is a sexual abuser and how Zeal won't look me in the eye and all this stuff. Like, oh, Zeal doesn't like Zeal sexually abused me, and then the next day at RDC 25, Zerum wouldn't look me in the eyes. So, Zerum is not that great of a person, but you're saying it, but you're basically just regurgitating what people already know, that Zerum is not a great person. But you're saying Zeal himself is apparently a sexual abuser? Like, initially, when I first heard about this stuff, I was like, great, that gives me another reason to not like Pressure. First reason being is Zerum is overprotective over Sebastian. Now we've got Zeal sexually abusing his own composer? And then, as more info came out, I then learned that, wait a minute, Ren's actually lying about this shit. This this interaction that they had did happen with them, with her and Zeal, but the only problem here is that she's upset that Zeal doesn't want to be in a relationship with her. Hmm. Sounds a bit like pussy behavior to me.
But yeah, like I said, I don't recall any of those claims about watching lolicon content in any Discord call, whether it was in Union Station or in any Discord server for that matter. Like, I even reached out to a couple of people in old friend groups, and even they have admitted that they've never seen me stream any of that content. Like, ever. And I've even had a couple of people even state that some of the people in there have beefed with other content creators before in that specific Facebook group. Some of which I will probably not name drop because I do not want to encourage any form of witch hunting or doxing or harassment towards any of those individuals. But yeah, that's more or less just my 2 cents on the whole situation. Like, I'm not shying away from the truth here. I'm more or less just dumping my honest thoughts and just giving my 2 cents on this because quite frankly, I've never seen these claims before, let alone any aforementioned allegations that these people have been bringing up. Because quite frankly, it's kind of sad, and knowing the fact these people are starting to spread it and attempt to sort of throw some people's names in the mud is kind of pathetic. I'm not doing this, beg for pity or sympathy or anything, or trying to do this for clout. I'm just being straightforward and honest because I've never recognized these claims anywhere. And even these quote unquote claims of testimonies, I've heard nothing from that, anyways. And some of the people that are mentioning this have beefed with other content creators before. So it's hard for me to take these seriously considering the fact that I don't even recognize these claims. But that's just my 2 cents on this. I don't recognize these claims, never mentioned any of these people, let alone even ran into some of these people. And more or less the fact that some people are throwing these claims out there just for the sake of attention and whatnot is kind of sad. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. I'm not asking for your sympathy, and I'm more or less just choosing to address these just to get my side on this. But yeah, all I could really say is I don't recognize these claims, and I'm just being straightforward and transparent and honest about this. Nothing more complicated than that. But yeah, um, that's all I really have to say. I guess just we'll go from here. I guess. Take care, folks.
Alright, so essentially what that shows is how untrustworthy and dangerous the internet can be. Because on one hand, you've got people saying, "Oh, well, Cowl Unit did this, Winnipeg did that, blah 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 blah." And on the other hand, you have, and then on the other hand, that you have them giving out, like, you have them just having a screenshot of, "Oh, this guy said that Cowl Unit did this, Winnipeg did that, blah 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 blah." That's not evidence. That's just you regurgitating that same person's message. Or if it was you, that's just you spewing your own bullshit again. Which, of course it goes back to the rolling line community. Why the hell wouldn't it? from what I remember, from what I somewhat remember, I don't think I saw Cowl Unit or Halton or whatever his name. I don't know, I'll just call him either or. I'll probably just call him Cowl Unit mostly. I haven't seen like Cowl Unit in the Rolling Line Discord like at all, from what I remember. Again, this happened. The whole thing of the Rolling Line Discord banning me was like basically a year ago. Why in the hell? Get out of here. But yeah, basically the whole thing of the Rolling Line Discord banned me last year before like yeah, they banned me last year over having an opinion, and I'm not asking for their forgiveness because, buddy, who are they going to forgive other than the most toxic people that happen to be the highest tier of the like the up at the high up at the nearly at Frank's level of moderation in that server. Like, you say one thing that happens to be constructive criticism and they will try and blast you for their own gain, and it's just despicable. But yeah, of course, this whole thing goes back into the Rolling Line community because why wouldn't it? Like, like I said, the Rolling Line Discord is very toxic, and I want to say 80 to I want to say 60 to 80% of the Discord of the Rolling Line Discord server wants out. Like, they want out. They don't want to deal with that shit. The other 40 to 20%, well, that's just, oh, I don't know, Frank's, Train Man, Long, Detroit, Tech Doom, Nuclear Milk, Cruisin' 420, which Cruisin' 420 is more of a problematic person than Cowl Unit, because Cruisin' 420's said some terrible stuff, and yet he's not getting reprimanded for stuff that he did. In fact, he's still allowed a platform while I'm not. It's absurd. As for the Rolling Line video that I'm going to make later, I have a whole script typed out, and I'm going to make that video sometime. And I just want to get it out there. Again, the allegations that are being made against Cowl Unit are false. He's confirmed that they're false. He's even going as far as confirming that the people that are making these allegations are just as bad as the Rolling Line community. Isn't that something? Anyway, that's about enough yapping about Cowl Unit having these allegations and then him confirming that they are in fact false. If I were to go and find that Discord uh text wall of Cowl Unit, well, talking about Cowl Unit, I'm going to copy and paste it into a Google Doc, I suppose, why not? And I'll just read it off of that. Credits to the there are um things that are to be said. Oh shit. Okay, I know that's stuff getting edited out. Ah, great, I'm gonna have to do editing for once. Oh, fuck. Knuckle. Ow. Oh, shit. Anyway. Oh, that's a completely wrong thing I wanted to show. Yeah, no, that's not making it into the video either. Where the fuck? No? Oh, no, it's stuck over there. Crap. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause recording now, too. Alright. Well, I've got the message here. And, gonna put that period there. I'm gonna read this off. Credits go to, the person that typed this out in, his server. Um, this was, posted in, Harrison of Colorado's Discord server and was posted by, who else? Harrison of Colorado himself. There are allegations going on against Cowl Unit Productions, and I will say it loud and clear. It is a total load of horse shit. The guy who was bringing up these allegations never even met C.U.P before, and a lot of people who've brought it up, don't want to mention who, since they probably wouldn't want me in mentioning them, have said that he wasn't someone who'd do any of that, and even one of them said that when they asked C.U.P about it, he said that the whole thing was fake. The allegations of C.U.P streaming quote-unquote Central Pacific are untrue, and I can only imagine what was made up by someone who actually did that, but has been trying to push their negative quality onto another person in the hopes that someone else who's innocent gets cancelled, but not them. So in other words, this is just a deflecting thing. The person that's saying that Cowl Unit did this shit is quite possibly deflecting and actually does stream Central Pacific in Discord servers and then goes and says, "Oh no, I didn't do it. It was this YouTuber that happened to be in VC at the same time." When in actuality, said YouTuber wasn't at the wrong place at the wrong time. In fact, he was at the right place at the right time. A whole different server, or probably wasn't even in a Discord server, like in VC. Probably just recording his own video, doing his own thing. Well, again, the guy that's making these allegations was doing it himself. Now, I don't have evidence that this person was doing such a thing. However, this is just a guess. I'm guessing that this was done in a way where the person that's alleging Cowl Unit of doing this is the one that did it, and is trying to deflect on the Cowl Unit, saying, "Oh no, I'm not the one that did it. Totally, it was Cowl Unit because I saw Cowl Unit in VC this one time, like never ago," and people will just believe it, or at least he thinks they'll believe it. Meanwhile, us in the Railfan community are quick to notice that, hey, we may not know Cowl Unit personally, but we know you're full of shit. Some of us may not know know him personally, but you're full of shit. So go ahead and try saying that again. Anyway, I think that about covers everything with the whole allegations of Cowl Unit. Tune in next time when I really talk about Rolling Line and its community. So yeah.